Throughout the year, many of the works of literature that we have covered deal with gender roles in the 19th century. Books such as Uncle Tom's Cabin, Maggie, and Life in the Iron Mills all showed various aspects of the stereotypical gender roles of the time period. As a whole, gender roles were similar for each class and each country. Men were the primary source of income for each family, whether they worked a lower class job, such as a manual laborer, or an upper class job, such as a businessman or landowner. In Life in the Iron Mills, we see Hugh constantly working at the factory. He is the primary source of income for the family, as there is no mention of Deborah or Janie working. In Uncle Tom's Cabin, the money affairs of the wealthy families, such as the St. Clairs, were managed by the men. Women usually stayed behind at the house and raised children and supported the rest of the family. In Life of the Iron Mills, Deborah takes care of Hugh and the rest of the family by providing daily meals and a place to stay for others such as Hugh and Janie. In Uncle Tom's Cabin, Miss Ophelia takes care of Ava as well as some of the other slaves, such as Topsy. These classic gender roles were so common that they were even depicted as occurring in the families of slaves. In Uncle Tom's Cabin, we see the classical maternal figure in Aunt Chloe, who cares for the slaves and cooks for the Shelbys, while male figures such as George Harris do the bulk of the hard work around the house. The gender roles depicted in literature were common among many families throughout America and Europe. In addition, they were not exclusive to the 19th century. They were common for many years before the 1800s, beyond the 1800s, and are even common today. An interesting aspect of the gender roles of the 19th century was the portrayal of women as moral figures. Uncle Tom's Cabin is a prime example of this. Female characters, such as Mrs. Shelby, Ophelia, and Mrs. Bird, show opposition to slavery, calling it a sin. All of these characters are a reflection of the author Harriet Beecher Stowe, a deeply religious woman who was the wife of a Presbyterian biblical scholar. However, we see a stark contrast between the morality of women in Uncle Tom's Cabin and that of women of the lower class. Both Maggie and Life in the Iron Mills display how when people become desperate, they will display immoral behavior. In Life in the Iron Mills, a desperate Deborah steals a wallet from Mitchell despite appearing to be a moral character in the beginning of the novel. Both Maggie and Life in the Iron Mills depict rampant alcoholism among people of the lower class. These are the symptoms of desperation that plague the lower class. When faced with particularly bad conditions, women of the lower class would often turn to prostitution.